I turned Minecraft's newest weapon, the mace, into a survival base, and today I'm going to show you how to build it. As you can see, this isn't an exact replica. The pixels in the item do not match the blocks in the build one-to-one or anything like that. Instead, I've taken some creative liberties and essentially just tried to make it look like a regular old building that just so happens to look like the mace. It's not exact, but it is a base shaped like a mace, therefore, mace base. Lastly, before we start placing some blocks, you can find a full list of materials in the description down below. The first thing we're going to do is grab some chiseled tuff bricks, and we're going to place 4 of them with 6 blocks in between each of them. So essentially we're going to be making an 8x8 square. What we can do is come to one of the sides that we want to be the front and the doorway to the base, and we're just going to place in 2 blocks either side and leave these 2 open for a doorway that we'll get to later. But on the rest of the sides, essentially we just want to place in 6 of the chiseled tuff bricks, connecting all of the corners to give us this square with the doorway at the front. Then in all of the 4 corners, we're going to go up by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 blocks for a total of 8. And we're essentially turning this 8x8 square into an 8x8 cube. So just make sure you get that on all 4 corners, all 8 blocks high, going to the same height. Whilst you're up here at the top, you can go ahead and add 6 more tuff blocks in between all of these corner points on all 4 sides to complete our cube going all the way around. So you got the outline, now we can start filling it in. So for the main part of the walls, we're going to be using tuff bricks, regular tuff, and then polished tuff, as well as the wall variants too. Now we're just going to pick one of the sides for now that isn't the entranceway, so we'll come around the back here. And essentially what I like to do is just grab tuff for the most part to begin with, and then add in these 2 afterwards for texture. So we're just going to go all the way around with the full tuff blocks and just complete that square like so. Then we're going to switch over to our tuff walls, and we're going to do the same again for a slightly smaller square. And then lastly, for this 2x2 in the middle, we're just going to place in some black stained glass. And then you're left with this, which doesn't look particularly good. So now is where we can grab the tuff bricks and the polished tuff, as well as the wall variants too, and we're just going to go around and mix some of them in with the regular tuff. So we're going to grab the bricks to begin with, and we'll just go around and punch a few of the full blocks out without really thinking too much about it. Just get rid of some of them and replace them with the bricks. Then we can switch over to our polished tuff and do the same again, just to a lesser quantity. If you want to break some more of the actual bricks, that's fine, feel free to do that. But we're just going to add some of them in, just not quite as many as the bricks and the regular tuff. And of course, once you've done the full blocks, you can move inwards to the wall and essentially just do the same all over again. So switch out some of them for the bricks and then do the same with the polished tuff. Again, just keeping it to a lower frequency. Just 2 there is fine. And as you can see, that looks a lot better than it did before. With the back of the base all done, we can go ahead and do the exact same thing round to the 2 sides as well, but the front is slightly different. So once again, we're going to grab our tuff blocks, and we're just going to make a square going all the way around on this first ring, except on these 2 blocks by our doorway, we're just going to have 2 top slabs like that. So you should be able to crouch underneath them and get into the base that way. And the rest of it is exactly the same, so we'll go to our wall blocks and just go all the way around, and then our black glass pane window in the middle. And then, of course, go ahead and add in all the texture. Now we'll come to the bottom side of the cube here once we get to the interior, but the top side of our cube is missing. So we're just going to go ahead and fill this all in with slabs, and essentially doing the exact same thing, just with slabs the whole way through. So obviously we're not using any walls or full blocks here, we're just using slabs level with the top of the blocks here. So fill it out with tuff if that's easier, and same as we did before, just go around and mix some of the others in too. Before we start work on the handle of the mace, what I will just quickly do for those of you who aren't super comfortable texturing and you'd rather just copy my build, I'll just go around to all sides and you can pause the video, take a look at what I've done, and then copy it over block for block, and you should end up with something that hopefully looks exactly the same as what we got here, which is good enough. So for the handle of the mace, we're going to be using some purpur blocks, which is mostly purple, and I know the mace handle, that breeze rod there, has a little bit of blue in it too, but I'm told by my non-colorblind friends that that is a mostly purple handle. If they're lying to me, blame them. It's not my fault. But I thought purpur was a pretty good substitute for a block in Minecraft that looks somewhat like the handle of the mace. So what we're going to do is use both purpur blocks and purpur pillars, that's fun to say, and essentially just switch back and forth between them. So to begin with, we'll find the center of the mace here, which is these 4 blocks. Shouldn't be too hard to locate, it's not that big a square. And we're just going to go up by 2 pillars like this, switch over to the blocks and do the same. And essentially we want to alternate that 3 more times. So the next level up, we'll get the pillars and put it on top of the blocks, and the blocks can go on top of the pillars. And we can just do that again, once more, and then another time to get up to this point right here. The final thing to do for the exterior of the build is to just make the pommel on top of the handle up here. So the first thing we're going to do is just place down 4 torches, not for symmetry, though it can be I guess, but it's just to light this up so you don't have to worry about mob spawning, and also to make this next part of building a little bit easier, because we're going to grab some polished tuff stairs and we're going to add 2 of them upside down on all 4 of the sides just like this, making sure they're all facing the same way, all pointing outwards and upside down. Then in the corner, we're going to grab some chiseled tuff and we're just going to place 1 of them next to all of the stairs with a polished tuff slab underneath it like so. Then we're going to grab some polished tuff blocks and we're just going to add 2 of them on top of all of the chiseled tuff. Then we can grab some more chiseled tuff and place another one on top of those blocks with a polished tuff slab on top of them. Then we can switch over to our tuff stairs again, and just like we did down the bottom here, except these stairs are right way up. So next to the chisel blocks, we just want to place 2 of them on all of the sides like so. And at the top here, we're going to grab some regular tuff slabs and we're going to place them on the bottom half of the block like that. And for all 4 of the sides here, very simply, we're just going to fill them in with some regular tuff walls. You can add some texture if you'd like, but I personally think on that smaller scale, it isn't really needed. So that is the mace part all done. We can now head on inside and start work on the base part. Now you may notice there is no doorway to our base, which is definitely a problem. So we're just first of all going to make an archway of sorts going around it, starting with 2 chiseled tuff bricks at the bottom. Then we'll have 2 full blocks and then a line of 4 slabs at the top. Of course, go ahead and add some texture into that using the other blocks that we've already used for everywhere else in the build. So the floor of this base is going to be made out of copper blocks. Now I'm using regular copper, but the waxed variant, so putting some honeycomb on it. Now if you don't have a bee farm or lots of access to honey, don't build one just for this. It's probably not worth it. Any variant of the copper is going to look just as good, but in my opinion, this one looks the best with the other blocks. But as I said, any is fine. You can just let it oxidize over time. So first things first, we're going to grab the copper bulbs and we're going to place 2 of them just in our archway here where the entranceway is going to go. And we can also go ahead and place 2 at the back here. Then we can switch over to the chiseled copper, another one of the new blocks. And we're going to place 2 there in front of both of the bulbs like that, and then 2 on the side like so. We can then switch over to our block of copper, and we're just going to put 4 in the middle, and then the rest of the blocks, you can go ahead and punch them out, and replace them for regular waxed cut copper, or non-waxed, you get the idea. But if you want to save on a few resources, not forgetting these can be turned into slabs, so you don't have to place quite as much copper. To power these copper bulbs here, you actually just need to power them once and they'll stay on forever, which is pretty cool, I gotta say. So just go ahead and place a button on all of them, turn them on, and you can just leave them there. However, the longer they do stay around and oxidize more and more, the darker it will get. So for instance, fully oxidized copper bulbs will be much darker than these. So you may want to just try and get some honey for these blocks alone, or just keep up to date with scraping them with the axe. But now we can just go outside quickly and place in our doorway, which is just these 2 blocks here on the copper bulbs. Now we're using the fully oxidized copper door because I think from an exterior point of view, they look the best. Obviously from the inside, it doesn't matter too much. I just think they look best with the tuff blocks from the outside. So that is the bare bones of it all done. We can now start furnishing, starting with a double bed just here on top of the bulb blocks. And then we can switch over to our chests, and we're going to have 12 double chests in total, so you got plenty of storage. Starting over here, just to the side of the archway, we're going to place 3 double chests here. Same again over in this corner, and repeat the same on the other side here. In between these chests here, on both of the sides, we're going to have some furnaces, just 4 like that, which hopefully should be plenty. And just to make it look a little bit better, we're going to get some oxidized copper trapdoors. Same again with these, so maybe you might have to let a little bit of copper oxidize, because I do think they look the best right next to the stone. But we're just going to place 2 of them on top of the furnaces like that. The final thing to do is to add all of these utility blocks along my hotbar here on shelves around the walls, which those shelves are going to be oxidized copper trapdoors, same as what we got here, but it's probably going to be easier if you place the blocks first and then the trapdoors underneath them. So starting on this side here where we got our doorway, what we want to do is just get a crafting table 1 block above this chest and then a loom on the other side. We can have a smithing table and cartography table then 1 block above them. And what we can do is just grab the trapdoors and place them directly under the block so they kind of look like they're up there on a shelf. And you can still jump and reach them pretty easily, even in survival mode. On the opposite side over here, we're going to do the same thing just with different blocks. So we got a stone cutter, a brewing stand, blast furnace, and then a smoker. Of course, not forgetting the trapdoors underneath them. So there we go everybody, that is how you build a mace base in Minecraft. I really hope you enjoyed watching, thank you ever so much for doing that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.